Hello, financial mathematics students. Today we're going to be covering the Unit 1 course activity. There's two activities in this video. This is the first one that you're assigned to do. I'll be going over the second one in a separate video if you're looking for that. Hopefully the video is already up. If not, it'll be up soon. But let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. All right, so if the first part should look like this. So let's go ahead and read this. Riley wants to purchase a new refrigerator that costs $1,025.99. Use the information to answer the following questions. If Riley places $50 in an envelope every month, how long will she need to save to be able to afford the new refrigerator? So in this case, she's not really gaining any interest. What you're just going to do is you're going to take the price of the refrigerator, in this case, $1,025.99, and divide by the amount she's saving each month. So in this case, $50. So you should get 20 point something, but in other words, 20 months won't be enough. You'll have to save for additional one more month in order to have enough money. So 21 months is the answer there. Next one. Riley doesn't want to wait that long before purchasing the refrigerator, so she decides to consider using credit. After speaking with a store clerk, Riley learns that she qualifies for a special payment plan the store offers. Why should Riley consider the amount of interest associated with the payment plan? So when you take out a loan for any amount, what you have to pay is interest. So that means you're not just paying however much you borrowed, but you're also paying an additional amount. This additional amount that you have to pay on any loan is called interest. So this, the answer here is interest is the cost of borrowing money. So whenever she's going to borrow money from a store or anywhere else, you should always consider how much interest you're going to pay. Okay. Riley agreed to a payment plan for the refrigerator. She uses a graph to record her payments and the remaining balance, which two statements are true about the graph. So you could see at the beginning, the amount of the loan is the total amount she borrowed, which was the $1,025.99. But you could see as the months go by, she's making payments towards that loan. So the amount that she owes is going down every month. You can see that here. Notice there's a big jump here between months 10 and 11. That indicates that she made a larger payment during that time schedule. So we want to click all the true statements. One of the true statements is that Riley made a larger than normal payment on month 11. Okay, so whenever you're paying your loan, you could always make a larger payment than whatever they're asking for. To help you pay down your loan faster and to reduce the amount of interest you end up paying. So that's one key thing. Then at the end, you can see when does she pay off the loan completely? After 20 months. So again, the bottom here is months. So after 20 months, she's done paying the entire loan. So you can see Riley paid the entire balance after 1 year, 8 months. That's the same as 20 months. Okay, and there you go. Let's go ahead and move on to the next page here. And there's a video they want you to watch. You can go ahead and watch the video by clicking this link here. However, you don't have to watch it because it's pretty much common sense. All right, you're welcome to watch it. It's only a minute long, but it talks about the importance of creating a budget. So here in this question, it says, in the video, you saw that Michael used a budget to make sure he pays his bills when they're due. What are some other reasons someone should want to create a budget? So what are some reasons to create a budget? That's all it's asking. So you can think of any reason you want to create a budget. So make sure you don't overspend. Make sure you don't spend more money than you actually bring in, right? These are valid reasons to make a budget. A budget helps you save money. So it helps you get an idea of where your money is going, right? Like if you're spending a lot of your money on Starbucks, then maybe you should consider diverting some of that money into savings or into necessary things. All right. Now, it's okay to get Starbucks as much as you want, as long as you aren't spending more than you're making. So that's a key thing. but a budget allows you to see better where your money's going. And that's one of the main things here. So just explain that briefly, some of the benefits of having a budget. And I explain them here. Just write them in your own words. Okay. Question 2. Melissa is drafting an email to Stuart, a financial advisor. He said he could help her create a personalized budget. What information will Stuart need to use to set up a personal budget for Alyssa? So what are some information that, we want to click 2 of these actually, but which 2 does Alyssa need to tell Stuart about creating a budget? Now it should be hopefully pretty common sense on this one. So for example, it was great catching up with you at the supermarket. Now that's not important when creating a budget, right? That's not information that Stuart needs in order to help Alyssa create a budget. All right, hope you can see that. So 2 of these things that are highlighted, we want to click them, okay? That help 2 things that are important when creating a budget. So I want you to read through this and click on 2 of these statements that are important when creating a budget. It should be hopefully pretty common sense. All right. Okay. Now on this next one, Terrence made a list of his expenses. He is creating a checkoff matrix to organize when his bills are due. A checkoff matrix is a table without dollar amounts. You can use the matrix to indicate what time of the year an expense will occur. Help Terrence complete his checkoff matrix by placing an X in the correct cells of the table according to his list of expenses. So you can see for mortgage payment, that happens monthly. So you can see on this chart that there should be an X every month because he has to pay mortgage payment. That's the first row. Mortgage payment, he pays that every single month. So that's why there should be an X every single month for mortgage payment. For utilities, again, monthly. So every single month has an X. For insurance, quarterly. So he only pays that 4 times in the year and they're spread out. So the first one for insurance is in January. 3 months later, he has to pay it again, April. 3 months later, he has to pay that again. So we're going to put an X right here. Okay. Quarterly means there's 4 payments throughout the year. Okay. And they're evenly spaced. You can see X, space, space, X, space, space, X, space, space, X, space, space. Okay. And then the next year. So quarterly payments, again, that means 4 times, 4 payments throughout the year, basically 1 per season. Okay. Internet pays monthly. So make sure for internet, make sure there's an X on every month across here. All right. Cell phone monthly, same thing. Car loan semi-annually. So that means only semi-annually, only twice per year. So you could see for the car loan, he pays in January. Now the next one should be 6 months later. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And we'll go put an X right there. So for his car loan, he only pays that twice per year. That's not normal. Normally you pay a car loan every month, but in Terrence's case, he only pays semi-annually, but that means twice per year. Okay. Lawn care, monthly, April through September. So April, May, June, July, August, September. Okay. The other months, he doesn't pay that. Food, he pays every month for food. Makes sense. Daycare, every other month beginning in February. So for daycare, we put an X there, skip a month, put an X, skip a month, X, skip a month, X, skip a month, X, skip a month, X. Gym membership, he only pays once in July. And so where do we want to put an X? You guessed it, just once in July. Okay, so that's how you fill out the chart. Make sure you put in for cell phone all the way across X's. All right. Maggie wants to create a bar graph to observe her electricity use and costs over the course of a year. Use the information from the table to construct a bar graph that represents the situation. So we have these tiles and we're going to click and drag them into this calendar here, basically. You can see the monthly cost. So for January, $90 is what she pays for electricity. February is more expensive, 120. March and April are also 120. So for the first, these are kind of split into 3-month periods. So for the first 3 months, January, February, and March should be 90, then 120, then 120. Okay. So we're looking for a lower month, 90, and then 2 higher months that are the same. So that's going to be, I think, this one right here. Now, if we click and drag this into our chart, hopefully we can see that this is correct, because for January, it should go up to 90. February and March go up to 120. So that's the correct portion of this graph here. Now notice April is also 120. May and June go up from there. So the next month should be, I think this one, right? Let's see. Yeah, this looks right. April also 120, May 150, June goes up to 180. And you can see those 3 numbers match, okay? See if you can figure out which of these other 2 would be the next steps in this bar graph, all right? I'm gonna let you try to figure that out on your own. Okay, let's move on. Now we're already on the last page. Isn't that great? Okay. A budget can take the form of a list, a table, or a graph. You can make a budget using pencil and paper, or you can use a website or software. Whatever method you choose, creating a budget is a great way to observe how much money you make and how you spend your money. When creating a budget, it's important to make sure you spend less than you make. That's the key. In other words, your income should be higher than your expenses. If your expenses exceed your income, you may need to find ways to reduce your spending or find ways to increase your income. All right. You only spend money you have. That's the key takeaway. Do not take on credit card debt just to buy something you want, right? But let's look at some of these payments. Notice it says rent, $13,800 annually. That means once per year. So, but we want to spread that payment over 12 months so that we know how much to save for each month. Even if we only have to pay once per year, we want to know how much should I budget each month so that I don't have a $13,800 payment at the end of the year, right? It makes more sense to save a little bit of money. If I have a big payment that I have to pay once per year, I want to make sure that I put money away every month for that expense. So in the case of rent, $13,800. So I'm going to do 13,800 and I'm going to divide by the 12 months. And that tells me that I should save $1,150 every month. Okay, so I'm going to put that every month across the board. All right, so go ahead and fill out $1,150 every month. That way you've saved enough to pay your rent. For utilities, it's the same thing. You take the 5,400 and we divide by 12 to figure out how much we should put away each month. In this case, $450. Again, I'm taking the 5,400 dividing by 12 because I'm splitting it amongst the 12 months. Here, for cell phone, 534 semi-annually. So we're going to divide that amongst 6 months because semi-annually is half a year. So divide that by 6 months. So 534 divided by 6 tells me I should save $89 every month. So, and again, you would fill out these numbers all the way across. So for every month, that's an 89. Okay, even though I only have to pay it twice per year, the fact is I should save a certain amount every month in my budget for that expense. Okay. Again, semi-annually, same idea, divided by 6. Now we go all the way across. Semi-annually, same thing, car loan. Okay, insurance is paid quarterly. So $720 quarterly. Can you guess what I would divide by? 4. So divide by 4. That tells you for insurance, you should be saving $180 every month. Okay, and you'd fill that out across. Okay, again, annually, these last 3, you would divide by 12. Since you're taking the annual amount and dividing it amongst the 12 months. Okay. Hopefully you're able to fill out that chart well. Now, part B, this is where you're going to do a little bit on your own, but think about a career you want to pursue, then determine the average income for that occupation. You're considering occupation you're considering. Record your findings in the provided table. For hourly occupations, assume a 40-hour work week, 52 weeks a year. So you have to look up an occupation that you're interested in, okay? But I'm just going to pretend, I'm just going to make one up, okay? So I'm just going to say a doctor, okay? I encourage you to pick your own occupation that you are interested in pursuing. Then you'd put the average annual salary. So I'm going to make this number up just so it's easy for me to do. I'm going to pick $120,000 for a doctor. Now, doctors usually make more than this, but I'm just going to use a number that's easy for me to use. Again, I consider you should look up an occupation that you're interested in and put the average annual salary. And you could easily Google that. Average annual salary for, and then whatever career you're interested in, okay? Then you would take this annual salary, and if I want to find the monthly salary, I would take the annual one and divide it by 12. So in this case that I'm making up, that's $10,000, okay? Again, your number might be different or should be different, okay? In part C, you're going to fill out this budget worksheet, okay? So we're going to click on this, and we have a budget worksheet. When you're done filling it out, you want to copy and paste it here or download it and then upload it here, okay? But make sure this thing's pretty easy to fill out. In the case of my doctor example, 10,000 every month, I would put 10,000 right here for my month, okay? And then you would fill this out accordingly. So rent or mortgage, how much do you expect to pay for rent or mortgage? Well, it depends on your living situation. If you want to own a house, your mortgage might cost you $3,000 a month. Could be more than that, could be less. If you're just renting a room from someone, perhaps you're only paying $750 a month, okay? If you're paying for a one-room apartment, perhaps that's going to cost you $1,200. Okay? I don't know, it depends on where you're living and what the housing expenses are. In California, where I live, yeah, housing expenses are gonna take up a lot of your money, okay? Then fill out the rest of these. So renter's insurance, if you're not renting, then that's $0. But if you are renting, that's usually pretty cheap, $10 a month or so. And then fill out the rest of this, okay? For car loan, if you straight up own your car, then that's gonna be a $0, okay? But if you had to borrow money to buy a car, you have a car loan, that might cost you $300, or however amount. Depends on what car you have and how the terms of your loan, okay? Gas, that's another expensive one. And again, this is a weird one because this changes all the time, right? Gas prices change all the time, but you should pick a budget amount that will keep you safe, right? Let's say some months you spend $250 on gas, some months you spend $300 on gas, and that's kind of somewhere in the middle. Maybe budget for the higher end. That way you have money saved over just in case. And if you need to use that whole budget, then you have that money available. So it's a good idea to, when you're budgeting money, think about the worst case scenario and go from there. Another thing with that is like food, right? Groceries, you might spend a certain amount, maybe $200 a month or so. You know, again, depends on if you have children and all kinds of other factors. What kind of food you like to eat. If you're buying steaks every meal, then that's going to be a lot. And especially with going out to meals out, right? Like if you're going out to eat every single dinner, then that's going to be a huge expense, okay? You should include your Starbucks orders in this one too, as far as meals out, okay? This one can vary a lot from person to person, medicine, health insurance, and so forth. If you're not taking any prescription, you're not paying anything in medicine, then that could be a big $0. That's great. But for a lot of people, this might be their most expensive expense, right? You might have to spend a lot of money on medicine, unfortunately. Okay. Childcare, child support. Again, for a lot of you guys, hopefully that's a $0. But if you do have to pay child support, then, you know, or childcare, you want to definitely put whatever numbers you can expect to pay for those. Okay. And all these other things, all these other expenses. And these can vary greatly, right? Clothing and shoes. If you buy shoes every week, that's going to be a large expense. But if you're like me and you pretty much never buy clothes, then that's going to be very low. And that's great. Okay. Other things like school costs. For a lot of you guys, if you go to college, school's going to be expensive. Sorry. But it depends on what school you go to, how big your loan is. In my case of being my example here with being a doctor, they're going to be paying a lot of money in student loans. So I could expect a doctor to be paying as much as $3,000 every month on student loans, okay? Or more, right? Depending on how big of a loans they had to take. Okay, but anyway, fill out the numbers with what you see here, and it'll automatically give you a budget here. So it'll have your income, your total expenses, and then how much money you have left over. Okay, I didn't fill out this whole chart, but I expect you to fill out this whole chart, and you can print this form. You could download it as a PDF and add it here. Okay. Now let's go and do the last one. Life can be unpredictable at times, and unexpected events can affect your budget. Suppose one month you have to pay an unexpected bill that greatly impacts your budget. What are some actions you could take to keep your budget on track despite unexpected bills? So a key thing here is just budget some money for savings. So budget some money that you plan on keeping and not spending, just in case an emergency happens, right? Your car breaks down. A family member gets sick, anything can happen, okay? So just having some cash on hand that you could easily divert to an emergency, you should really budget for that. So saving at least 10% of your income is usually a good idea, at least until you've gotten a good nest egg. What do I mean by that? So save up enough money, enough cash, so that you have maybe 3 to 6 months of money where that if you lost your job, you'd still be able to survive and pay off everything you need to for at least 3 to 6 months. Okay, that's a good kind of, scale to have. But if you could save more than that, then you should. And even better than saving, you could always invest as well. If you're investing into a liquid asset, meaning you can turn that into cash easily, then that's always a good thing to do as well. Okay, but yeah, saving money and putting it away for just in case, and making it a part of your budget. Okay, that's going to be a key thing in keeping you safe in case of emergency. There's so many people that if an emergency comes, then they have to put it on a credit card. Well, credit cards charge you a lot of interest, and you really don't want that credit card debt. So try to stay away from that. And if you save a little bit of money every month, then you'll hopefully not have that sort of problem. Okay, well, with that, that's the end of the activity. Hopefully that was pretty simple, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. All right, and I should have the other activities for this course coming in the weeks to come. All right, well, with that, take care, and I'll talk to you guys next time.